Okay, it's live. Um, okay. Oh, what's happening? Yeah, it's live. So it's on Kevin's screen.
Okay,
Are you hearing?
everything's good. Perfect. I can already see we're starting to get some people joining us. We'll be
Yeah.
starting at exactly 10 o'clock. Is that right, Paul?
Yeah, that's right. Did you hear Bob? We just want to confirm that both speakers are being heard here. Bob, just make sure as people are coming in and we're doing our tech check that we're hearing you.
Okay. I think a test 1, 2, 3. You can hear me okay, right?
I hear you clearly.
Okay, good. And you can hear on Kevin's as well? Do you want to go check that? Is it fairly close or?
Okay, yeah, we need maybe move the microphone in a little bit closer to your mouth or your
Okay.
face there.
How's that? Is that better?
It's louder to me. We just want to make sure what's coming through the speakers is good.
Okay. Do you want me to turn up the volume on mine a little bit?
Yeah, that's a lot better, Bob.
Is that a lot better?
A lot better. So
Okay,
we're
good. Okay, good.
totally clear.
Right on. So we're about 7 minutes away.
That's right. So okay, so this platform seems to be working pretty good. We have we've got the full screen. We have comments underneath. Let's just see if you can get the comments there and to get you to say something. I wonder if I can open it. Bob, can you go to the webinar link maybe and see if you can follow along on the webinar window? Did you get the latest link?
No.
Dr. Paul and Bob, it's today. I wonder what
No,
list you.
no, I didn't get that.
Okay, you mustn't be on some list. Okay,
Well,
here we go.
it's interesting because I did check the list and I was on the list.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I got Ali to send out it's today with the link.
Huh. Yeah, so I'm not actually seeing the comments window, but that's
You will.
okay.
Did you click the link, the webinar link?
Well, let me just go to it.
I just emailed it to you.
Yeah, let me just have a quick check.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I just clicked on it now.
And it
All
should
right.
open the Google Plus page.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so I hear you clearly. You can
Yeah,
see the slides that I'm on.
yeah, yeah.
Let me
Now,
just.
yeah,
So if you can just keep an eye on the comments there
okay.
because they're underneath.
And I guess I have to click the start button in the middle of the.
Yeah, click the start, and what you'll see is
Okay, yep, yep.
perfect.
I see it. Oh, now it.
Oh, now you're getting both, right? That's not
Yeah,
good. Okay, so then stop it, and you know that works, but you'll still see the comments. Or maybe check back there every now and then.
yeah.
Did you get it paused?
Uh, Paul?
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Okay. It's still a little bit of an echo. It worked better on that first link that I had.
Yeah,
that
well,
we
just
set up on.
can you go back to that?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. I'll go back to that now.
But are you able to pause the play and then watch the comments, or no?
No, it seems to only sort of work for me on what we set up.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so let me just go back to that. You're already in a video call. Take me there. Okay. Okay, you hear me fine?
I hear you, and we're
Okay.
just about ready to roll here. All right, I have the comments up, and it's time.
All right.
All right, so let's get this thing rolling. Rolling, Bob. We're here to present our webinar, How to Write and Publish Your Money-Making Expert Book in 40 Days. And it's a great pleasure to be here. We hope that everybody that's joining us is just as excited as we are. So the way to get the most out of this webinar today is just get yourself situated, get yourself set up at your desk, at your workstation, have your notes, your notebook handy, have your water handy, and just tune out all the other distractions. So turn off the Facebook, turn off your email, and just zero in, dial in with us for the next 75 minutes. And what we're going to share with you today is absolutely life-changing. We know that 80% of people want to write a book. Most people die with that book still in them. But the people that take in this information today, they're going to get their eyes opened and find a way to not just publish a book, but publish a book that will make you money. So let me just introduce what we're talking about today. And here's our promise for the webinar. It is that you can be the leading expert in your field and actually eliminate your competition, get high-paying clients when you publish your specialized system, your expertise in a best-selling book. So this is for coaches, speakers, and entrepreneurs, people who have expertise that are looking to attract really high-end clients. So I'll give you a little background on me. I'm Dr. Paul. I'm a chiropractor. I have been a chiropractor for over 18 years now. And in that time, I've practiced in 2 offices. I've built 2 offices to over the multiple 6-figure levels. So, I mean, I've run businesses. I know how to run them. And what I found is that the best way to get clients is to be a speaker. So I actually became an international speaker. I've spoken in Canada, the US, and Europe. And one of the things that just gets clients all the time is attracting an audience. So I used meetup.com to draw clients into my office, and it was a brilliant way to get a steady stream of high-end, high-paying clients. And with me on the call today, I have Bob. So who's Bob? I'll just let him introduce himself here.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. And it's great to be on this webinar today. I've been excited about it for about 2 weeks because I know the impact that a webinar like this can have on coaches, speakers, and entrepreneurs. Because when I wrote a book, it made such a difference in my life. And that's why I share it with so many now. But for me, you know, I'm a multiple Amazon best-selling author. I've got a number of number one Amazon best-selling books. But about 35 years ago, I started a fire and flood restoration company. That's where you take a home or a business back to a pre-loss condition after a fire or a flood. And I built up my company to 26 locations across Canada, and I made a lot of money. As a matter of fact, I made about $30 million before I was 30 years old. And I really, really loved the money part. But there was a lot of parts that I just didn't really like about that type of brick and mortar business. So I really started looking around for different business models. And of course, that's what we're going to be talking about today. And it's really funny on this next little slide here, I'll tell you, with so much, traveling that I did, and you can see on this next slide, it's a picture of the airport. I still, to this day, have a little bit of an attitude problem anytime I have to go to an airport for work. If I go to an airport for a vacation, to go for a vacation, I'm fine. But if I have to go to an airport and it's a work related flight, I still have a little bit of an itch because, the fire and flood, like I say, the money was great and I really liked that part, but it really wasn't for me. There's too many trucks, too many customers. There's close to 600 full and part-time employees. So there's a lot of headaches. And I mean, some people have a passion for that, and all the power to them. I just really didn't. I just didn't want to, on this next slide, I'll show you my daughters. I just really didn't want to miss my daughters growing up. And I knew I was going to miss them because I was spending all my time flying from city to city. And you can see my three daughters there. The one on the right is Shay. She's now 30. The one in the middle is 12-year-old Sky, and the one on the left-hand side is Lex, and she's just turned 19. And they're all fantastic little dancers, but I love the fact now, rather than flying from city to city, what I'm doing now with publishing, writing, and selling my information, and positioning myself with a book, I don't have to fly from office to office. As a matter of fact, I stay at home. I work from home, and it's really a beautiful thing. And I'll show you a little bit picture on this next little slide. Here's I just bought actually a nice new car back in October, and here's Lex, the 19-year-old, and in the middle there's Sky, and there's me, and we're just cruising around in my new car that I bought in October. So we have fun. I can really come and go, when I want, whenever I want. I have a bunch of sub trades, rather than the 600 full and part-time employees, I have sub trades, one's in Florida, one's in San Diego, one's in Colorado. So, I never really see them. One's even in Port Moody, but she never comes over to my house. So, it's really just, for me, it's the absolute dream lifestyle. But I really had to figure that out, and one of the things that helped me figure it out was a mentor. And on this next slide, my mentor, she really sort of told me that all I really needed was a phone and a computer. And I thought, do I want 600 employees and a lot of trucks and a lot of headaches and a lot of flying and a lot of offices, or would I rather have a phone and a computer? And that really started my journey on what we're talking about today. And this is why, I've become so passionate about this industry and what we're doing now. And that's why, Paul's got involved and why he's so passionate about it. But it's just, it's such a fun way to go. So um, you're going to tell us a little bit about yourself as well, Paul?
Yeah, and I just to pick up where you are leaving off here, the phone and the computer, it's who doesn't have one of those, right? And to know that that can be your basically your business and your money making machine, it just sounds too good to be true. And for most people, it might seem that way because how do you actually start generating income? For me, I had a brick and mortar business. I only knew how to make money if I saw people in person. I actually put my hands on them physically and performed my expertise as a chiropractor. So it was good. It was good money. I was making a great living, like a multiple six-figure living, and the big thing was I had a physical location. I had to pay rent. I had to pay staff, and there was a lot of overhead. And that really detracted from all the money I was making. And in terms of being able to price things the way I wanted, I also was regulated by my profession as a chiropractor. We have the College of Chiropractors that dictates how much we charge, dictates how we run our businesses, which really, it's not that much fun. So there were a lot of conditions to me working as a chiropractor. And I wanted to learn ways that I could actually take advantage of the internet and take advantage of this virtual type of business. And since I had spent so much time in school and so much time learning, and even when I had finished school, I kept on learning. I wanted to know how to market my knowledge and how to charge for the things that were really transformational for me. And so many things that I had studied and invested in were life changing, and really opened up big levels of awareness and just shifted my whole perspective on the world. And I wanted to be able to provide the same sort of insights to people and also get paid as a mentor that way. But in my chiropractic office, that just wasn't possible. People, they come to the chiropractor and they expect that you're going to do something for their back, and they think that it should be $50 or less, and there really isn't any way to charge more. So I mean, all the learning I did about internet marketing, I followed the steps. I published my knowledge into an ebook, and I thought, wow, who doesn't want to be happy? So I published The Secrets Happy People Know, and I made a whopping $30. And maybe someone did buy it online, but I probably told them in person that they had to go online and buy it. And other mentors said, oh, create a product, like put all your knowledge into some program people can follow themselves. And so I did that, and I tried to sell it in my office, and I could not get $69 for it. People just kept asking, is it covered by insurance? And I'd say no. And then they'd say, well, then I don't want it. So it was really disheartening to have put so much time and effort into something I was really proud of, and nobody wanted it. And what I really, really wanted was just to be able to, be at home and just be comfortable. I didn't want to dress up every day and have to, put on my best face and go into the office and meet a whole bunch of, people that are in all different states of wanting me to fix them up. And I just wanted to work with people that really wanted to make a big difference in their lives and their business, and be able to do it from home, get dressed when I felt like it, and just kind of come and glow as I please, just as Bob is saying. And that just wasn't possible because, if you're a coach, a speaker, or an entrepreneur, and you need to be charging like about $300, $400, or $500 an hour just to replace the income that you're getting from either your job or your brick and mortar business, well, it's not very easy to convince people to pay you that much an hour. So I was stuck in my office running in circles. That's a picture of me, and that was my office. And I had my 5 chiropractic tables, and people would come in waves, and they'd lie down on the tables, and then they'd every time I went and adjusted someone, there's another $45, and I had to keep on doing that. And the more I did it, the more money I made. But what I needed to learn was how to get more money out of each client. And so I kept investing in solutions. And this lady, Lisa Sasevich, is a mentor that that Bob and I both worked with, and we still follow her teachings. And she is the one that taught me all about this speak to sell thing. And I thought, wow, I speak and I sell. So maybe if I speak and I sell, that's going to answer all my problems, and I'll be able to make the income I want. And I have to say, I learned some of the best material ever from this lady, and still to this day apply it. And Bob, that's how we connected in Phoenix in maybe was a year and a half, 2 years ago.
That's
And
right.
yeah, and you were already a published author at that time.
Yeah, really. Yeah, just to give you a little bit of a backstory on that, I had published a book called 101 Reasons Why You Must Write a Book. And I'd been quite successful with that book for, I guess, probably almost about 7 years when I met Paul. And it worked really, really well. As a matter of fact, before that book, I published a book called How to Make $1 Million in Your Home Service Business. And what that book did was position me in my fire and flood restoration business. And it worked so well. I had a lot of entrepreneurs and such forth asking me how I did it. And that's one of the reasons that I got into this business. But my 101 Reasons book was doing fabulously well, and as a matter of fact, still doing well. But Paul and I did, we met, we're in the same mastermind, but surprisingly enough, we didn't actually meet face to face in the mastermind. We actually met in an Arizona event of a friend of ours, and we got talking about it a little bit. And I had been making, multiple six figures with my book, 101 Reasons, but I really wasn't getting to the next level. Although it was working really well, it really wasn't getting to the next level. So that's when Paul and I really started, I guess really masterminding, was it, Paul? Brainstorming, start putting some ideas together and really taking it to the next level. And, I had a little bit of resistance there, but I'm glad that Paul pushed through. But we did. We took it to the next level. And of course, our new book, which we released well over a year ago, is How to Be a Celebrity Expert Author, a 7-figure business strategy for coaches, speakers, and entrepreneurs. And that's when things, really started to ramp up. And that's when all the excitement and the fun really started happening. We've had so many successful or success stories that we've had, not only with ourselves by positioning ourselves with our books, but all the many clients that we've worked with for me over the past several years, but for Paul and I over the past couple of years, it's been really an exciting journey. And that's what we like to share with everybody today. So with this webinar today, on this next slide, I just want to say, this webinar is for people who, if you struggle to find the right clients who need what you do and will pay what you're worth, if you're that type of person, this webinar is exactly what you need. So don't leave. You'll find some really valuable information on how to stop your struggle on that one. This webinar is also for you if you're frustrated because you provide a valuable service that could help a lot of people, but no one knows about you. It's almost like you're the best kept secret. You know you've got the value, you know you could help everybody, but they don't know that. So you're dead in the water. So this is for you. It'll help you with that. This webinar is also for you if you know that if people understood how you could help them, they would line up at your door to work with you. Now, this is really cool. You really want a attraction type of system where people are lined up to you, people are coming to you rather than you chasing them. There's a real different energy when people are chasing you. And that's what we're talking about here today with positioning yourself with a book, is how to do that. So stay tuned on that one. And lastly, this webinar is for you if you want to create just one foolproof marketing strategy that you use over and over again to generate high-end leads and income that never stops working and never gets old. And I've been using it for years. Paul's been using it for several years now, and I'm not the first one to use it. There's hardly anybody using it, but it works over and over and over again. Always does work. Will continue to work because people love books and people love authors that write books. So, Paul, what are we going to be covering this webinar?
All right, so we have a lot of information for you, and we've got some great stuff to give you as well. Just on the last point, Bob, you write a book once and you never have to do it again. And I'm really surprised I managed to convince you to do it again. But
well, exactly. It's really funny. I'm doing a small Amazon bestseller campaign for one of our clients today, and I was looking at 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'll have to look at what year that was written in, but I'm probably written 2.5 decades ago, and it just keeps working. Of course, Stephen Covey now is not on the physical plane, but it just keeps working over and over again. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, isn't it, Paul?
Yeah, it sure is. And funny you should mention him. He's probably the reason I wanted to get into this whole industry in the first place. So and that book. So what are we going to cover in this webinar? First, we're going to talk about how to create your own step-by-step money-making book outline so you can write and publish a book that attracts your ideal clients and actually eliminates your competition. And this is so brilliant because when you get your own book, it instantly elevates you from everybody else in your field. And this is the special thing. You're going to want to hang out with us right till the end because we you got this. It's hot off the presses. It's our book writing flowchart, and it goes through all the critical steps that you must take to write the right book that attracts your high-end clients and just keeps on making you money even after you do it once. So, and you never have to do it again. And if you do it right, you will just have it made. If you do it wrong, it's a whole lot of struggle. So you want to get your hands on a copy of this book writing flowchart, and it just shows you exactly how to write the right book. The second thing we're going to cover is the secret that makes your product or service the silver bullet that your clients are craving so that you can triple your fees overnight. And I just did a whole workshop on that last night on increasing your fees, tripling your fees, and silver bullets are the answer to it, because a silver bullet is that emotional thing. People just think that it's going to cure everything for them, and nobody's using it. The third thing we're going to cover is how you can start attracting leads and making money before your book is even written or published. Now, this is really important for any expert, and it's a lot easier than you think. And Bob has a really funny, really great story about how this worked for him. And the great thing about Bob is, like, he just gets out there and does things, and it always works. And that's how it can be for all of you. And then finally, we're going to discover the quickest way to get prospects to know, like, and trust you so you can take them from cold to sold. And all this while creating your 24/7, 365 sales force that works while you sleep. And that's what a book is for you. It's that sales force that just never stops working. It never complains, doesn't call in sick, and it just always performs. So let's get right into how you create your step-by-step money-making book outline. And this is something Bob's been doing for years as a publisher and as a mentor to people who want to write their books. So what is the most important thing that people need to know when they want to write their book?
Well, thanks, Paul. The first thing that I always zero in on with all our soon-to-be best-selling authors is to make sure they've identified the perfect customer that they want to work with. Because if they haven't identified the customers that they want to work with, or the perfect customer that has the money and wants to work with them, they can struggle. And it gets really expensive marketing. And ultimately, if you don't have the perfect customer, you've written the wrong book. And that's not something that we want to do. We want to make sure, as Paul says, it's so important to write the right book. And anybody can write the right book, and it always starts with the perfect customer. And then another thing that's really, really important is not only writing the perfect book, but what is the big problem that you solve for that client or that customer? It has to be a big problem. If they're waking up in the middle of the night, shooting up straight out of bed with that problem, and you can solve that problem for them, you position yourself with a book. It is a connection you've got, because then you're going to be connecting with them on an emotional level. And if you can connect with these clients through your book on an emotional level, then you're going to really sort of resonate with them. And that's when you start getting conversions, and not only conversions, but higher ticket clients. And that's what we're all about here, is higher ticket clients, because clients aren't just clients. If you can sell your programs at 3 times higher than your competitors, that's what you want to do. That's when you start really making the money. And a lot of coaches, entrepreneurs, speakers struggle with this. But once you position yourself with a book, you don't do that. But you need that big problem, and you need that big problem solved for that perfect client. And so what is that problem or that solution that they crave? What is that they're really looking for? There's a lot of different problems out there. So for example, right now, a coach is probably looking for more clients, but not only clients, they're looking for high paying clients. A speaker is looking for places to speak, not only places to speak, but places to speak that are profitable. And entrepreneurs are always looking for more leads. So in our particular situation, we position ourselves with a book. We solve that problem through positioning you with an expert book. So that's what a lot of our clients crave. But you have to have that too in your niche. And we help authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, and coaches with that exact problem and what they crave. So I'm just quickly, we don't have a lot of time on this webinar, but I'm just going to quickly talk about how to write a book and how to write a book quickly. We have that flow chart that we'll give at the end of the call. But as you see on the screen right now, we have a table of contents. And in my workshop, I always talk about, the first thing that you want to do is put together a table of contents. And it makes the process so easy. So we always recommend that your first expert book be approximately about 120 pages. You'll notice on the last book we wrote, Celebrity Expert Author, I think, Paul, it's about 128 pages. We recommend the smaller size as opposed to the bigger size for a number of reasons, to keep the cost down if you want to give the books away, but also if you're lugging books around the country to give away, you don't want to be carrying a lot of weight. So we always recommend a smaller book. So if it's going to be a 120 page book, what you want to do is do your table of contents first. It's really easy to do. If it's a 120 page book, just break that up into 8 or 10 topics or chapters. Just write out the name of the topic or chapter in 1 to 10 points. That's it. Just list them out. It's a really, really straightforward process. So that's 8 to 10 chapters. Just list them out.
And how do you just come up with chapters that you want to write about? That's not hard, is it?
Well, I mean, obviously you have to have the perfect client identified. You have to have the problem that you're going to solve. And then you just start identifying the topics or chapters that you're going to cover in that book. What is your 5-step process, for example? Your 3, 5, or 8-step process could be your chapter titles, but list it out in a table of contents. And once you list it out in that table of contents, your book actually starts taking form. And if you don't do this, it can really slow you down. But I'll get into that in a second. But take these 8 to 10 topics or chapters and break them each up into 2 or 5 points. That's it. 2 or 5 points. That's all you need. So now you have your table of contents listed out, 8 to 10 topics or chapters listed out, what you're going to cover, 2 to 5 points for each topic or chapter. And now you start writing your book. And you just literally fill in the information on what you've written out in your table of contents. Now think about that. What you've done with this table of contents is almost like you've mapped it out, or you put together a blueprint, an actual blueprint that you're going to follow, or a map that you're going to follow. And the neat thing about it is, what I really love is you can write your book in any order. You can do the 7th chapter first, and then the 1st chapter, and then the 4th chapter, and then the 3rd chapter, and it'll all fit together perfectly. And then you can get into the editing part. But what happens a lot of the times is people don't take the time to do the table of contents first, and they just start writing off the cuff. And when you just start writing off the cuff, which usually happens for most of us, not all of us, but for most of us, we get to about page 40, and we have this major writer's block. We just grab ideas out of the air, and we go, that'd be a good idea. Oh, I should include this, I should include that. Oh, there's another idea. It's sort of like our mind is, like a cow wandering through a pasture looking for green grass. We're always looking for that next best idea. But if you don't take time to map out or put this blueprint or table of contents together, like I say, you get to about page 40, you get this major writer's block. And then if you try to take that 40 pages and put it back into your table of contents, you're actually going to find that you have to throw out what you have mostly and start again. So don't do it that way. It's a tough road. And write in conversational style English. And this is really neat. It's a process that I talk about in my workshop. And once you start writing in conversational style English, when we have conversations, we don't get blocks. So you always hear these writers, they get grumpy and red-faced. They go, don't talk to me right now. I have writer's block. Talk to me in a couple of days. Don't talk to me right now. I have writer's block. But meanwhile, have you ever heard anybody get all grumpy and say, don't talk to me right now. I have talker's block? No, we don't get talker's block. Most people can have a conversation. So write your book out in conversational style English from this blueprint, from this table of content, and then pass it over to your editor. So there's a lot of really quick ways, and I talk about several other quick ways in some of my workshops to write your book really, really quickly. But yeah, just start writing. Put out your table of contents and just start writing. And the goal is to write, a 120-page book. And once you get that 120-page book written, this is the thing that Paul talked about that's going to keep working for you years and years to come. And I've got some stories a little bit later on in the webinar about how our book, my old book, and many other books just keep working for us. They don't go to sleep and don't want raises, and they don't mouth off at us. They're just a beautiful vehicle for bringing in leads, not only leads, but high-end leads. And it's really funny how many people are missing this tried and true method.
And while we're here, let's why don't we just share one really great tip about how to get your book done super fast. And you were talking about the conversational style. When you have your table of contents written out and you've got your 2 to 5 points and it's all broken down that way, you just get on the phone with somebody, right? Or get someone to interview you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we've done many times, isn't it, Paul? Is with our clients is, we always try and make this the easiest process possible, because people get all, overwhelmed and stuck in the details, and it has to be perfect, and they just get stuck at every doorway. But it really doesn't have to be that way. It can be really easy. And of course, many times when we're working with our clients, is we'll just interview that table of contents out of them, won't we, Paul? And then start interviewing them for the book, transcribe it, and boom, there's your book. I mean, there's so many easy ways to do it. There's no reason at all, and I talk about this in my workshop, that any of us, if we're coaches, speakers, or entrepreneurs, should not be using a book to position ourselves to attract more and better high-paying clients.
And that is what truly amazed me. Just when we started working together and we started this business and put our book together, I mean, we went from nothing to a physical book in our hands within 3 months. It just blew my mind.
Yeah, well, the really neat thing, Paul, is after we had that book published, I mean, I'd seen this work for a while, and I'm still amazed by it. I'm never not amazed at how powerful a strategy it is. But tell them the story about just after we got the book published and you went to the gym.
Oh yeah, so I go to this gym that I've been going to for maybe a year or so, and you just show up like it's exactly what we want. It's like done for you workouts, right? You show up, they tell you exactly what to do. You bust your butt for 45 minutes and then you come out. And so the owner of the gym was standing at the front desk, and I had just gotten my book, so I was all excited, and I was like, "Hey, Alfie, here's my book. Check it out." And he's like, "Wow, that's awesome." And he's like, "Are you going to make it a bestseller?" And I said, "Yep." And I went in, did my 45-minute workout. I came back out, and he's like, "I want you to write my book." And I said, "Sure." So we had a meeting, and during that workout, I made $10,000.
How cool is that? Just handing a book. I know. Yeah, there's nothing like it.
Yeah. And that's the power that's available to you. And that has happened over and over again. And so we really want you to write the right book. And what I want to tell you is that most experts, like in their minds, they are already set up to write the wrong book. So pay close attention here and make sure you grab our flowchart at the end, because it'll make sure you stay on the right track. I hope you're taking notes, because this is the secret that makes your product or service the silver bullet your clients are craving, so you can triple your fees overnight. And I'm not kidding here. If you follow what I'm saying here, you will be able to charge way more than your competition and get people lining up to pay for it. And this is the problem most experts have. They have studied their expertise for so long, and trust me, I know, because I was in school for more of my life than I've been out of school. And I would talk about all the things I learned because I thought that people cared. And the truth of the matter is nobody cares. They're all falling asleep. So if nobody wants to hear it, they certainly don't want to read about it. So do not write about your expertise and all the things you learned. That's why they're going to an expert, because they don't want to learn about it. And then, we're experts, and so we know how long we studied and how much it takes to get the results. And we want to be truthful and tell people that, there is no magic pill, and it's a lot of hard work and it takes a long time. And if you don't uncover all the different problems and fix them all one by one, you're not going to get anywhere. Now, your clients don't want to hear that. They want a magic pill. They want a pill, a silver bullet. And when you tell them it's a long, drawn out process that is going to be really hard and they're going to be slogging away, it makes them unhappy and they don't want to buy from you. So you're lucky if you get any clients by telling them that. So what you want to do is find out what your clients actually want. Like, let them tell you. And as an expert, a lot of the time our clients say they want one thing and we're like, nope, you can't have that. To get that result, it's going to take you, months, possibly years, and you're going to have to do all these different things, but I certainly can't give you what you want. And that's the biggest mistake everybody makes. So when you find out what they want, you need to answer their biggest question. Like, what's in it for me? So when you're talking about your expertise, most of the time as an expert, you're talking about yourself. And you're just like, blah, 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 look how important I am. Look at all the time I spent learning. And, I know all these big words. I know you don't understand them. That's what makes me important. And the person is looking puzzled. They're nodding their head at you because they don't want to offend you and they don't want to seem stupid. But they're wondering, like, when is he going to tell me something that is important to me? Because people always, always, always buy silver bullets. They're looking for fast and easy, instant results. Going from zero to hero. They want overnight success, and that's what they're looking for. And we all know that overnight success takes like 10 years. We know that, but people will buy the silver bullet. They will pay big bucks for the silver bullet. So make sure you sell them that. And once you sell them their silver bullet, that's when you can start getting into the problems. But the way that you find out what the silver bullet they want is you find out what the big expensive problem they have. And just like Bob was saying earlier, what is that problem that wakes them up at 3 o'clock in the morning, makes them bolt out of bed and go, oh no, the world's going to end if I don't take care of this. And it's the problem they'll pay anything to solve. And you want to find the people with that problem. Oftentimes, if you find one person, you can find 100 people because they flock together. You will find them at the same associations. You'll find them at the same meetings, the same places looking for help because they have the same problem. And they're in chat groups. They're looking in the same places on the internet. So there's lots of ways to find these people once you know the problem that needs to be solved. And then when you're marketing, or if you're writing in your book, you want to exacerbate that problem. You want to tell them exactly how bad it is, because most people with problems, they're trying to convince themselves that it's not that bad. They're trying to hide from it. So you want to just pull that problem, that big ugly problem, right out into the open, right into the light, and show it to them. And what that does is it makes it really painful for them. They feel like, oh my God, I have to do something about this. And then right there and then, you promise them the quick and easy way to get that outcome they want. And when Bob was talking about writing the book outline or creating your quick and easy book outline, he was talking about the solution that they crave. So what you want to do is make your product or service the fast and easy route to getting the solution they crave, solving the problem that they're waking up at 3 in the morning with, and getting the solution that they crave quickly, easily, done for you, no mess, no nonsense, no hassles. If we work together, I'll take care of it for you. And when you do that, people will be bending over backwards to pay you, bending over backwards to work with you, hoping that there's still room, that there's still space, because they will do anything to get rid of that problem. And then once they've bought, and only after you've got them, that's when you give them what they need, right? That's when you tell them, well, honestly, like, we can take away that pain, and you're already starting off on the right foot. But if you want this problem to go away forever, it's going to take some time. But don't worry, you're in good hands here. And once you have them there, they will be loyal clients because they'll know that you can get the results. So when you're looking at pricing, if you're looking at the going market rate and you're pricing your product or service, that's going to lead to a lot of competition. So when you're selling a product or service, like me as a chiropractor, I can't charge more than $45 to $50 for my service because that's what the college recommends. That's what everyone else in the city is doing. And if I'm selling chiropractic services, nobody's going to pay more than that. But if I am selling a silver bullet, then I can triple my fees because I'm connecting with people on the emotional level. They are they just want so badly to get out of that pain. They do not want that feeling that's waking them up in the middle of the night. And if they see you as the answer to that problem, you're going to take away that pain, then they will pay you anything as long as you can lay it out in the way that they want it. So this is really interesting because, once you know these things, you know the silver bullet your ideal client wants, and you decide that you're going to be an author, and you get right into this book writing process. And I know that those of you who are on this webinar now, you are into this, and that's what you're doing. Then you can start attracting leads and making money before your book is even written or published. And this is really important because it is so much easier than you think. And I'm going to let Bob take over here because he has used this over and over again to make really big money.
Yeah, well, it's really fascinating what you just talked about, Paul, because it is true. And we've seen this time and time again. And actually, I used this process originally before my book was actually published. And I'll just talk about that in a second. But it's the whole principle of, the mindset of you have to be it before you are it. So once you realize that you are soon to be a published author, start being and acting like a published author. Because it's really fascinating some of the things that will happen. You can actually get your title and your subtitle done first, which could be changed at a later date. But start introducing yourself as, hi, I'm Bob, and I'm the author of the soon-to-be released book, 101 Reasons Why You Must Write a Book, and give the subtitle. But when you start giving that title and subtitle and the soon-to-be released, you get a lot of the times the same prestige that you're going to get when you finish. So you don't necessarily have to wait until the book is finished. You can start using the fact that you're an author before the book's finished. Now, of course, when you announce to the world that you're the author of the soon-to-be published book, you damn well better make sure that you finish the book, but you don't have to wait that. As a matter of fact, I've worked with so many different authors now. We had a gal actually a couple of years ago, a workshop that I was doing here in Burnaby. She was a local sports anchor, and she came to one of my workshops, and of course she wanted to learn how to write a book and position herself, but she ended up actually emceeing my workshop, and we introduced her as the author of the soon-to-be published book, and gave the name of her book and gave the name of her subtitle. And she, not only was she television sports anchor, but she was also getting the prestige that you get of writing a book. So you don't have to wait. You just don't have to wait. You can start actually, as you see in the next slide, you can start capitalize your author status right away, your credibility right away. And Paul, we've got a couple of clients that we've done this with. As a matter of fact, there's one gal, as you know, her book has just come out recently. And she's doing it really quite well. She's amazed. What she's done is before the book was published, she actually just printed some copies of her cover. And she would hand out the cover, and I'm the author of the soon-to-be released book, and she'd hand the cover, and she was absolutely amazed at some of the responses she got, and some of the responses she got of even high-profile people in her particular industry. So you don't have to wait. To open the doors, as you can see in the next slide. You don't have to wait to use your book to open the doors, because there's all sorts of doors these books will open. As Paul has already stated, the first thing he did with the book we just did a couple of years ago here is he handed it to the fellow at the gym, a $10,000 contract. One of the things that I did with my 101 Reasons a number of years ago was hand it to Lisa Sasevich. and I just introduced myself. I said, here's my book. And from that one handing of my book, it turned out to be sort of first level, approximately about a $46,000 client service program. And then I've got even bigger services than that. I've told that story many times that by handing one book I've made as much as $45,000. But then I was checking actually, is that true? Of course it's true. But I started realizing that there's some people that I've handed a book to that it didn't come from the initial handing of the book. The initial handing of the book might have been a contract or a program that we started working together. It might have been a 25,000. But now it's actually worked out that I've handed out one book, and from that one book, I'm now doing in close to $100,000 by handing that one book out to one person. So these are the types of opportunities that you can get by handing out the one book, and we've seen that in ourselves so many times, and we see that in our clients, and that's why we get so pumped about it, because there's so many people scrambling for these different ways of marketing, and there's this the tried and true of positioning yourself with a book that just works over and over again, and people miss the subtlety of it. I just love it. And one of the things I did even before I wrote my 101 Reasons, you'll see in this next slide here, I originally, before I wrote the first book, 101 Reasons, I phoned up the continuing education here in the Vancouver Lower Mainland, and it was at the time I was just changing over from my fire and flood restoration business to writing, publishing, and selling my information. So it's just changing, and I thought, well, what I'm going to do is see if people would like to take a course on how to write a book, because I'd already done my book on how to make $1 million in your home service business really well. So what I did was I called up to continuing education, and I said to the program director, I think it was in New Westminster, I said, I'm the author of the soon to be released book, 101 Reasons Why You Must Write a Book. And I've got a program on how to write and publish your book in 40 days that I would really love to teach your students. Would you be interested in me having you, me teaching your students this particular process? And they said right away, they said, yeah, absolutely. We would love, it sounds like it'd be really good for our students. So yeah, could you send us in the actual course description? I said, absolutely. And I hung up the phone. And then as soon as I hung up the phone, what I did was I started writing out the course description. And then I sent the course description to that particular program director, called them back a few days later, and I said, so what do you think about the course description? They said, oh, this looks fantastic. I know that our continuing education students will love this, because there's so many of them that want to write a book, and there's so many of them that want to be able to position themselves and increase their business with a book. So this is really perfect for them. So we actually booked dates. So there I was. I had actually, before the book was written, I was already teaching the course before the even course was written. So this is the beauty of what we're talking about. Not only will your book pay you for years and years to come by doing it once, but if you do it right, your book can actually even start paying you before it's written. So I mean, really, when you think about that, what a powerful system. I mean, really, what could be better than that, right, Paul?
Oh yeah, and this continuing ed strategy. Here's a tidbit. Like, I mean, you guys can pick up on this right away. And like I just set up a continuing ed course here in Ottawa. Just did exactly what Bob said he did. I called up the school board. I asked them, do you want a course on writing and publishing a book? And they said, sure, just submit a proposal. And so I submitted that. And there was a lady just jumping at it. She's like, I need this at my school. I need this at my school. And she was so excited to have it booked. And so now I'm scheduled to teach that a few times this coming winter. And, with the way we're set up with this book, like, we just know that that's going to turn into business. So you guys can apply this right away.
Well, the neat thing about it too, Paul, is, think about it. You're the author of the soon-to-be-released book, but obviously once it's published. But you're also the instructor at a local school, and in my particular case, I taught at about 8 different schools. I mean, between the fact that I'm the author of the book, and then I made it a best-selling book, which we help many of our clients do, and then I'm also the instructor. My credibility went through the roof. And it's easy for anybody to do this. And many people that we've gone on to work with, we've taught this process and are actually, teaching continuing education courses with their book.
And that really takes us into our fourth topic here, and discover the quickest way to get prospects to know, like, and trust you, so you can take them from cold to sold. And that's exactly what you've been talking about, Bob. Just the credibility factor. Being an author is instant credibility, and I mean, you've seen this time and again, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no quicker way to get credibility, trust. I mean, normally you have to work with somebody for a long time to build up trust, but with a book, they trust you right away. Of course, you have to protect that and you have to be integral, but there's no quicker way to gain trust than to be the author of a book. Here in North America and a lot of places in Europe, when you position yourself as an author, that level of trust is just amazing. And there's a little story, I'll tell you this one quickly, which is really fascinating. There's one client that I'd worked with that came to one of my workshops several years ago, but he was actually a fellow that wrote a book on World War II. And he put together, all the facts he thought were relevant and interesting about World War II. But it was really interesting because he started watching documentaries on World War II on television, and these documentaries would start quoting his book. They would go, this is quoted in so and so's book on page so and so. So they would use his book for quoting and the details. And he said to me, he said, Bob, this is really interesting. He says they took it verbatim that these details are right. He says they were, of course. He says, but nobody checked. He said the trust that they take is once you write the book, they just figure that it's true. And of course, you want to make sure it's true, but it's amazing that they take it at face value so quickly. So you get that trust, you get that credibility, you get that celebrity, and there's just no quicker way. It's just a fun way to go, isn't it?
Oh, it's the best. And when you use your book, just the way that you've always taught, it's your business card on steroids.
Yeah.
Like, how does that compare to any other kind of marketing media?
Well, as I don't do a lot of networking because I don't find it that beneficial for leveraging myself. But having said that, it's still, good. Don't not do it. It's really good. But I've really found that handing out business cards or brochures in most cases is a waste of time. And I almost find it to the point if somebody says to me, can you send me your brochure? What that really means to me is I'm really not interested in what you have to say, Bob, but I would like you to get the hell out of my office. Can you give me a brochure? At least that way I'll look like I'm polite and interested. And then when you send me that brochure, I'll just put it in my little round filing cabinet under my desk. But that does not happen with a book. It just doesn't happen with a book. As a matter of fact, people in general just don't throw out books. They keep books for years. So, a book is your business card on steroids that just never gets thrown away. And we've got examples of, clients that we've had come to us that have, heard us speak and had our book from years ago or a few years ago, even from the new book that, just keep the book. So a book is just, so much more powerful than a business card that gets lost or thrown out and a brochure that just, I don't know, if the brochures to me are just, the customers say they don't have enough information and they're not interested. So what you want to do is you want to take that book, and what do you want to do with that book, Paul?
Get out there and speak, and that's speaking is really how Bob and I came together. Again, we were in Lisa Sasovich's mastermind, her Speak to Sell mastermind, and this lady just says, "Speak from the stage," and that's how you're going to get high-end clients. And when I met Bob, I was already speaking a ton. I used speaking in my office when I was a chiropractor. I would hold monthly meetups. I would post them on meetup.com, and I was always preparing talks with slides, and then I would do these talks to anyone from the public, and I would offer them a free consultation at the end. And so I would get tons of clients that would, they would sign up for the consultation, and then I would do the exam, and then I give them a report, and I give them my recommendations. And off of that, I was selling $3,000 programs for chiropractic care. And I just kept on selling them that way. And it was a great way to market because I never left my office. I had people coming to me, and it was a constant attractor factor. And then when I met Bob and I told him about that, he was fascinated by the fact that I could get people coming to me for talks. And I was fascinated by the fact that if you speak with your book, you can just amplify the level of conversions, and you can even increase your fees even more. Because if you speak to your ideal audience, if you know who that perfect customer is, and like for me, say I wanted to target chiropractors, well, I know where to find them. They go to the same association meetings, they hang out in the same places, they go to the same seminars. And if you're a speaker and if you have a book on the subject that chiropractors care about, then it's really easy to approach the organizers of events, and it's really easy to offer a talk on a subject matter that is going to solve a problem for your perfect customer. So if I wanted to target chiropractors, I would talk to them about, well, how do you get more chiropractic clients with a best-selling book and by speaking? And they will pick me up in a second. They want to know these things. And so when I have a talk and I'm at the front of the room talking, the person at the front of the room instantly has credibility, and they instantly also are perceived as knowing something of value. And then you couple that with having a book. Well, just as Bob was saying, it just takes you to a whole other level. It's like you have you wrote the textbook, and people think, well, then you must know what you're talking about. And our strategy is, when you're speaking with your book, make sure that you give your book to the people in the audience. If it's an audience of perfect customers, if there's 100 people in the audience that could be your perfect customer, do you not want them to have your book? Right? If you have a little book that you can sell for $19.97 and there's 100 people there, why would you take the chance of only having, 10-20% of them buying your book and making, $200 to $400, when you could have that book in everyone's hand and be selling a program on the back end? And that's what we train all of our clients to do, is don't make money on your book. Make money by selling your high-end programs on the back end. And for us, what we do is, when we're speaking to an audience of coaches, speakers, entrepreneurs, when we know that those people are in the audience, we know that they want to get high-end clients. And we know that most of them want to write a book. And so if we put a book on how to be a celebrity expert author and attract high-paying clients, we put that in their hands, we're having conversations with them the next week. And we're having conversations and selling packages anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. And that is just something that we routinely do, because when you get in front of your ideal client with your book and you speak, you have instant credibility, and it's so much easier to go from cold to sold. And it's fascinating, because those things like handing one book out and making $10,000, or giving a book to your mentor and making $45,000, it is totally doable, and anyone can do it, but you have to cross that hurdle, like get over the barrier and get your book written. And then the beauty of a book is just it's your favorite thing, Bob, right? You do it once and it just keeps going.
Well, that's the thing. The book keeps working for you. And, it's interesting. A lot of the things that we work with our clients on is making sure that they write the right book. But another big mistake that they make is they spend all their time marketing their book rather than using their book for marketing. So, they spend all this time trying to make $1 or $2 a book, rather than using their book for marketing, where all of a sudden you could hand it to the gym owner or hand it to Lisa Sasevich or hand it to the, all the stories that I've got, and all of a sudden possibly get a 10 or 15 or $20,000 client. But these are the kind of mistakes that most coaches, speakers, and entrepreneurs do with their expert book. And we have a list of mistakes that most make, and we make sure that you don't make any of these mistakes, because if you write the right book, as you say, Paul, your book keeps working for you. It keeps working for you forever. I mean, we've got so many examples. I mean, we just had an example just before Christmas where, I spoke with my book in Arizona about 3 years ago. And just before Christmas, a gal called me up and she says, I saw you speak in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and I still have your book. And I realize now that I really need your help. So the book keeps working, but the neat thing about it is you write it once and it keeps working for you. I mean, what could be better than that? Think about TV, or think about radio, or think about billboards, all very, very, very expensive. And the day you stop advertising on radio, TV, or billboards, the day you stop, that's it, you're done. But a book keeps working for you. People don't really sort of think about the true miraculous benefits that you get with a book. And that's why, we really want to get our message out on how it can really benefit you in so many different ways. And we've actually got on this next slide some benefits of, having a book, some real actual stats, some, qualified stats that we've got about what a book will do. First of all, I want to say that a book will get you 3 times more referrals. Or excuse me, it'll get you 10 times more referrals. It'll have your clients working with you 3 times longer. And in general, you will make 3 times more from that client. And that's a proven stat. It's a proven stat actually from a large marketer down in the US that talks about this all the time and uses this strategy a lot. He's probably written about 12 books now. But he says that he has his clients get pay 3 times as much money because of his books. They stay with him 3 times longer, and he gets 10 times the referral. Is there any other type of lead generation system in the entire planet, even the internet or Facebook ads, that are going to give you that type of kickback by doing work just once? I don't think so. There's nothing that I've come up with, and nothing that just keeps working over and over again. A lot of these systems that we're talking about, the new wave, some of them only work for a couple of months. The shelf life on them is very, very, very short. But with a book, the books never die. They just keep working for you. So that's fun.
So, we've covered a lot of different strategies, ways that that using a book can really elevate your expert status, get you attracting high-end clients, position you above and beyond all the competition, everybody else in your niche, and that's all fine and good. The thing is, you need a book. Right? You actually need to get your book done in order to capitalize on all these things. And even if you're going to start making money before your book is done, that means getting started on your book, right? You can't say you're the author of the soon to be published book that you never write. You have to be writing it. So how can you get started writing your money-making expert book on the right foot today? Because we have talked a number of times during this webinar about writing the wrong book, and it is really crucial that you do not make those mistakes. That you actually follow the steps that we've been talking about in this webinar to write the right book, to make sure that it is geared towards your perfect customer, to make sure that it's solving the problem that they want, and it's speaking about the silver bullet that they're looking for. So how do you do that and get started right away? Well, we want to help you, and this is a strategy that you all can use really well. And what you want to do, and what we're offering a free celebrity expert author book flow session. And what that means is we will actually meet with you by phone. We're virtual, and we get on a 90-minute call with you. Now that's going to be Bob, you, and me together on the phone on a three-way call. So that's 3 schedules to coordinate. So that's a big deal in and of itself. And we'll spend a full hour and a half with you talking about your book and really just talking about the flow, how you're going to go about writing it, and how you're going to get that framework so that you write the perfect book that attracts your perfect customers. So here's what we'll cover. In that time that we spend together, we're going to talk about your business positioning. How do you position yourself as the leading expert in your field? And this actually works before your book's written. Once you have that positioning, you can already start elevating your fees. And who's your perfect customer? Make sure that we really target it, because so many experts, and Bob, how many people, when we get on the phone with them, actually know who their perfect customer is?
Almost none. It really never ceases to amaze me, but almost none.
And I mean, I've been hearing about ideal clients, perfect customers, and finding your niche or your niche for years. For all the time that I've been studying marketing, internet marketing, they're always talking about you need to find your ideal client, your perfect customer, and find your niche. And that is the hardest thing to do. It's so hard. But we've been doing it so long, and we've been looking at so many people's businesses, and we've watched some people just knock it out of the park and jump right into the 7-figure realm, and other people just struggle year after year making like next to nothing. And it all just starts with finding your perfect customer, and we've got it down to a science. I mean, we like within the within half an hour we already know if we're going to find a good perfect customer, don't we, Bob?
Oh, absolutely. Because not only do you want the perfect customer, you want to make sure that perfect customer has the money to pay you for your services. Because a perfect customer that doesn't have any money, you're wasting your time. You're going to struggle.
And you'd be surprised how many people have built an entire business
Yep.
and spent years building a
Yep.
business around clients that don't have money.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just never, ever, ever going to work. So, I mean, those are things you want to know right off the bat. So that in and of itself, just getting on the phone with us to figure those things out I mean, that can set you forward years and just end the struggle. And from there, we'll talk about how to write the right book to attract your perfect customer, because you're not just writing a book because the world needs it. And you're not just writing a book to just get that information out of your head or, as your gift to humanity. Because if you want to do that, that is the fast track to struggling and to investing a whole lot of time, money, and effort into doing nothing. So if you want to make your book work for you and have it make a whole lot of money, you want to write the book that you can use to leverage your products and services and make more money. And that's by writing the right book that attracts your perfect customer. And from there, what we'll get into is like how you can get that money-making expert book published right now. And that is something that we're experts at. Bob, you've been doing this for years, just the publishing part, and people make so many mistakes here, don't they?
Oh, the very idea of positioning yourself with an expert book is so powerful. And then they do it, but they make themselves look completely opposite of what they want to look like. And if you don't publish your book and position it properly, it can actually do you more harm than good. So we make sure that we work with our clients that not only is it the right book, but it's positioned properly and it's shown properly. And it really exemplifies who you are and attracts your perfect customer.
Yeah, and the really great thing about when we do start working with people, the really fantastic thing is the access we can give people to publishing, because it is so hard. I mean, it's next to impossible to get a publisher these days, Bob.
Oh, a traditional publisher today, as I say in my workshop, I say you have a better chance of growing a third eye, of being struck by lightning in that third eye within this workshop in the next 15 minutes than getting a traditional publishing agreement. But you might hear that as bad news. It's not bad news at all. As a matter of fact, it's good news if you know how to publish your book in the right way. And a lot of people don't know this particular system we're talking about. But it doesn't. You don't need a New York publisher to make this system work. As a matter of fact, you probably just spin your wheels, spend a lot of money, and not get anywhere by looking for one. But when you start getting into using your book for marketing rather than marketing your book, that's when all the magic happens.
Yeah, and the other thing that that we really we really help people with is you just don't look self-published. If you go through the self-publishing route, you can make all those mistakes Bob was talking about, and you end up shooting yourself in the foot because the very opposite of what you wanted to do, like you wanted to build credibility, and you end up making yourself look really bad.
Well,
So
just little things, Paul. I was talking to a client. Well, actually, it was a client that went her own way, but it was really interesting because she put on her book by and her name. Well, you don't do that. You just put the name of the author. You don't put by, and then she used a self-publishing name to self-publish. Well, you even though she's self-publishing, which is fine, you don't want to advertise the fact that you're self-publishing. So these are two mistakes she already made out of the hop before she even got started. And here she is trying to position herself with a book, and she's doing the exact opposite of what she's trying to do.
it just reminds me of writing compositions back in grade school and writing, by Paul
Yeah,
Newton or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I know, a little thing, but they sure can add up to looking almost disgraceful.
And anyway, all these things that we're talking about, I mean, you can learn a wealth of information. I mean, this will save you thousands and thousands of dollars, years of struggling, and your investment for your book flow strategy call with us it's absolutely free. There's no obligation whatsoever. We just want to get on the phone with interested people who are really excited. And oh yeah, before I forget, the book flow chart, like how to write your client grabbing money making book in 7 days. That is something you can get. All you need to do is type your name, your email address into the chat, and we will send you that. You can print it out. It's a PDF, and you can start working with it right away, just to make sure that you are writing the right book and you're starting out on the right foot. We just got this. It's hot off the presses. We're so proud of it. We just we can't get over how well it turned out, and we're giving this to you today. And if you want to take advantage of the book flow strategy call, then you just need to leave your name, email, and phone number in the comments below. And what will happen is Cindy, our lovely assistant, she will be in contact with you to schedule your call within the next 7 days. And we're really busy. We have 3 schedules that we need to coordinate, so it's no easy feat for her. So we just want to make that process as smooth as possible. And all we ask is that you show up with an eagerness for all the possibilities we'll create. And it is so amazing. And I've worked with Bob for almost 2 years now, and this man does not see problems ever. All he sees is possibilities and the ability to create something great and something new. So this is something that I always encourage people to take advantage of. Like, when do you ever get to be on the phone with with a business person of his caliber, who who has started multiple 7-figure businesses, like has run them and sold them, and and that's what you can do with this virtual business. Why would you want to start small? And just show up with that eagerness and have the willingness to take the next step if it makes sense. And if we can show you how to shave years off the growth curve, and how to not really not just think about investing, but actually think of making money faster, sooner, then if it makes sense, then we're glad to move forward with you. So the only condition we have is that it's coordinating schedules, and it is our time. 90 minutes is a lot for us to take away from our own business. So if you're serious, then by all means book one. But if you're not serious, just don't do it. And Bob, did you have any last comments before we wrap this up?
Can I tell just a quick story?
Oh yeah, we got time.
Okay, good. Probably about 4 years ago now, in the SASE Mastermind, I met a gal, and her name was Kay White, and she's a communications expert. And I'm actually doing a webinar with her in February. But it was really interesting. Of course, what did I do? The first thing when I met her is I gave her a copy of my book. And she read the book and she realized that she needed a book and she needed my help to make sure it was the right book. So anyhow, it was really interesting because one of the things that she did with her book is she speaks to, you know, her perfect client, and she usually speaks to groups of about 50 to 100 people. That's about it. 50 or 100 people at a time, and she always gives away a free book to everybody. Sometimes she pays for them all herself. Sometimes the event promoter pays for all of them. Sometimes they split it, but she always gives everybody a free book. And she was telling me for, you know, a couple of years, she says it always works out really well. She says, you know, it cost me a few $100s to give away all those books. But she says, every time I've done that, she says, usually by the time I'm leaving the event where I've spoken at with my book, she says, I'll have anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000 of income. And then, you know, I realized the last time I talked to her, I never really asked her. I said, that's great. You know, you speak for, you know, an hour and a half and get 15 to 25,000. That's really great. I said, but Kay, had you really sort of tracked it about how much money you made over the next year or two from that talk? She goes, no, actually, I've never really thought of that, Bob. And I got her to look into it, and she realized that anytime she had done that over the next a year to 2 years, it was a six-figure talk. And of course, that gave her a little bit more incentive to do even more of them. So these are the kind of things that we find are happening for us and our clients. And these are the kind of things that we love sharing with our clients. And these are the reasons that we're so darn passionate about what we do, because we know what we do works and it can really change not only your life, but the life of your business. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say, Paul. It's been a fun webinar.
Sure has. And I mean, just on your final note there, um, you know, we think that those six-figure speaking engagements that all the gurus out there are doing are so far out of reach, and just this simple strategy you're sharing just puts it into the reach of everybody uh, that writes a book, and that's just it's just amazing how much more accessible these things are to everybody.
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll sign off there. Just make sure that that you get your name, email, and phone number into the chat if you want to take advantage of the book flow strategy call, and get a hold of the book flow chart as well. It's been a real pleasure spending this time with you, and until we get together again, have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.